And going from there, I have a totem animal for my channel. Can you see him? Yes, you can, I think. This is an old thing. It's a piece of coal that I found on the beach, and I carved it into a raven. Where's his head? Oh, I was pointing his head downwards. There he is, right? I have a raven totem again. So I thought it would be fun to talk about totem animals for a tiny bit. So I hope this is going to be a little short and sweet one, okay? Because other than the raven, I have had 2 experiences with totem animals myself. And the first one was when me and my colleagues were doing a course on experiencing nature, invisible forces and stuff like that. And there was drumming and all that, and you had the idea was that you had your totem animal come to you. And I saw, eventually, after much effort on my behalf to not be such a wuss about it all, I think, I saw a deer, stag with antlers going, like that. A terrific big stag. And I was very happy with him. I was so glad that I actually found a totem animal, and I was able to, I suppose it was the first real connection that I felt outside of myself, that I learned from. Even though it was a really wild animal, I still learned to connect to something outside of myself. And that's a bit of a confession right there, I think. From the position I'm in today, it is something I can see. Okay, I can tell that that is what it was like, and I was completely underdeveloped in many ways, and I needed something outside of myself that I could trust in a visceral way, in a way that was complete emotionally as well as physically and intellectually. I could work with this quite well. So I suppose I made a couple of things for the totem animal, like you were supposed to do, and I was happy with the stag. And to some extent, he's still around, but he's a bit more remote now. Because in the episode I shouldn't say episode, in the phase of my life that I told you about earlier, a couple of weeks ago, I think, about my husband and I going bust and filing for bankruptcy and all that, and all the other difficulties that we were having and that I was having in that period of time. There was a development where I was helping somebody make incense, and I had learned the technique of making incense myself, hand rolling incense on bamboo sticks in the Indian style, agarbatis, like rolling with a bamboo core and all that. I had learned how to do that, and I was applying that knowledge for somebody else. Later on, it turned out that it was not such a good idea. And I knew it when this person came in the room. I wasn't going to go into all this, but it's all linked to each other, isn't it? It just comes out like that. So I am not too happy about working with this type of person, because after a while they just ditched me, and they didn't need me anymore. They had gotten from me what they needed, and that was the end of it as far as they were concerned. So they probably felt like they had given back enough to me. And I was, at that point, I hadn't done any soul retrievaling or anything of the kind yet. So I was desperately looking for ways to be involved and be connected, and it didn't work out rather well at that time. However, I had a totem animal that accompanied me through that part of the story through those maybe a year and a half, 2 years that I was working and making incense again. Sage incense. We were making sticks, agarbati sticks from white sage. So that was a pretty cool product. I still love white sage. I use it almost every day. As you know, complementing other types of incense. I use every type of incense that I find useful. I love incense. I'm nuts about incense. So I will always be a great fan. In that time, however, I had a different totem animal that came to me, that accompanied me along the way, that helped me see things in ways that were more helpful, that allowed me to let go of a lot of baggage and a lot of emotional, I suppose anger and that kind of thing, negativity and helplessness. And that totem was a great big vulture. I loved him, just the same as the stag, and I was very fond of him. And at some point, it seemed like 2 years ago or something, it seems like I didn't really need him anymore. And because that was when I got into the soul retrieval story and the soul healing, and I managed to connect on these much deeper levels with parts of myself that I needed so badly to connect with. And then the vulture went away. So that was fine. I haven't really, it wasn't like a big deal. It wasn't like I said goodbye to him or he came to say goodbye or anything. It was just gone, and I didn't really need him anymore. So I came back to the experience of having a power animal, remembered it. I thought of the vulture totem and of the stag totem a couple of times. And each time it was like they were just images. They weren't like a presence in my field or they weren't like with me anymore. They were just memories, right? So then time passes, and now I'm engaged in another activity with people again, and lo and behold, there's another power animal. And it turns out I was watching videos about ravens, and we don't really have ravens where I live, in Holland, in the Netherlands. I think there's a couple in some of the rather larger forest areas in the middle of the east part of the country. There's some ravens there, but you hardly ever get to see them. However, we have seen and heard ravens in the Alps and in France, in places and in the mountains. And we always love them, always love watching them because they're funny. They are so much fun. They're always playing and messing around and just enjoying life by the bucketful. And I am just so pleased, you guys, that I have this raven right by my side. And it's a presence again. It's not an image. It's not a memory. It's not a mental construct of any type. It's like I can really feel inside of me the way to be. And, with one eye and on the other side, like that. He's curious, he's interested, he's, I'm saying he, but I'm not sure about any gender issues with those animals. It doesn't really matter that much to me. They're just themselves, okay? And they're spirits, so it doesn't really matter. And I won't go much into more detail about the raven totem, but I'm just very glad that he's here and that he'll be helping me a lot, because when there's choices to be made, I can even sometimes, when I'm late in the evening, when I'm sort of more or less open in the third eye regions, best time of the day for me to do that type of thing, I can even talk to him and communicate with him, and he can share wisdom with me. I can actually he can answer questions, which is a new thing because neither of the other two did that. So there's my bit on totem animals for now, and I will go now and phone back my husband because he's been in there for a bit. So I will be getting back to you shortly. It looks like I am much better at doing several videos back to back in a row for you to have something to look at it from me to look at, and rather than doing, you know, a single one every day, which is what my ordered mind would love to see, but it doesn't come out that way, does it? Never mind, videos are on their way. Thank you for watching.